My name is Olalekan Waheed tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn mọ̀ sí Orolabi. This is my hunger story. I call it a season of hunger because it was actually a season, not just a one-timer thing. Do I still get hungry? Yes, but of course not as much as the time I want to talk about. So this time around, there is help, there is ways to get out of it. There is now different coping mechanism that one can use to get out of hunger. But this time, there was no coping mechanism. It was between 2011 and 2015. And this was not just about me alone. It was about the family. It was about everyone in the family, the father, mother, and their children. Now, in 2011, I was in GSS 3 in Ondo Boys High School, Ondo. Whoever is from Ondo, we know Ondo Boys High School is the most popular school in Ondo. And that year, we were playing ball on the field. It was a Friday. So I was a goalkeeper. I used to, be at the goalpost. And this day, my elder brother was also playing football. He was in SS1 then, in another field very close to mine. It was close hour. Then some senior school students came to my field. I was like, I've a field how you go collect this field from us? Now we get here before you now. Kato saw Igbadu ti land lórí àwọn bíi méjì kan. So it turned to chaos and my elder brother came to, of course, bro mi wà níbí báyìí now, kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀, ṣe fẹ́ máa ná ní gbogbo àwọn kan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Then there was one guy among the senior boys. He was so aggressive. I have never seen someone very aggressive as that before in my entire life, even till now. So this guy suddenly just disappeared. We didn't see him. And by the time I saw him again, I saw my elder brother on the floor and I saw him holding a 2x2 as a locker. So he literally hit that as a locker, that 2x2 on my brother's head. And that was exactly when calamity struck. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do, whether to run, to wait, to fight back, or to, everybody was shocked. And before we knew it, the other senior student shielded the guy and he escaped. I didn't know what happened yet. We were trying to carry my brother and he was shaking on the floor. His legs were shaking. The fingers were literally shaking. His head was, numb. Nothing was happening. So at a point, it was just cold. I thought he was dead, to be honest. Then we tried to carry him. We saw that he was struggling to talk. Something just told me, let's go to General Hospital. And General Hospital was very close to Ondo Boys High School, for those who know the place. Let's go to General Hospital. General Hospital. So we carried it. It was beside a long tennis lawn. The first bike man came. He saw the position of my elder brother. He did not wait. He left. The second bike man came. That was how crazy it was. The second person came. He did not wait. Then the third man came. I just prostrated. Hey John, anything that happened, I'm responsible for it. You are not a shame. Our witnesses were me. But this man was like, okay, so I carried my elder brother on the bike. One other person was at my back, so I literally carried him to the General Hospital. Getting to General Hospital, there is a lot wrong with Nigeria. I must be sincere. That year, Nigeria happened to me. When we got to the General Hospital, the emergency guys came around, helped him. Do you have a card? We don't have a card. Elogba card. So I got to the place where I was to get the card, and these guys were like, the nurses around were like, Elogba police report kato fun card. I was like, police report what? I didn't know how. I just flared up and turned it to something else. Somebody is dying there. You want to collect police report for what? We need to save somebody's life first. It was not even fights. Secondary school somebody just came around. So we paid, and by the time I got back there, give them the card, and the doctor was attended to him, and before I knew it, his head was, the distance between his normal head and the increments that happened in the head, the swelling was, I'm not trying to exaggerate, it would be as half of this microphone. That was how big the head swelled. It was so swollen that everybody was scared. My dad was at work, my mom was at home. One way or the other, my mother got to the hospital, the landlord got to the hospital, some family members got to the hospital, and my dad left work, came to the scene at the general hospital. Then I started hearing the amount of money that I've never heard in my entire life before. Hello, muye báyìí wá. Ẹ kọ́kọ́ lọ deposit. Ṣé ló nígbà yẹn náà? Was it not 50,000, 60,000? Wọ́n ṣáà ń dárúkọ àwọn owó yẹn. Ẹ lọ san gbá síbí, ẹ lọ sanwó síbí. And I must be sincere, that time was a very bullish time in the family where things were going right. My dad was doing very well. We had many Okadas out there working, bringing money home. We were not lacking, to be honest. But when the general hospital bills started coming in, they spent a lot of money that owó tán nílé ajé. Ó wá di pé it got to a point where, wọ́n ní Ọlọ́run má jẹ́ ká yáwó lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tá. Nígbà tọ́rẹ́ ò bá wá fún yàn lòun kọ́ńbò lèyàn ó lọ ilé ọ̀tá náà ni. So sold a lot of properties. The bike sold a lot of properties just to make sure it was good. Within that 3 days, it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday morning, a lot has gone. Then on Monday morning, the news got to school, and we needed to crowdfund because there was no longer money again. Nígbà yẹn, ọjọ́ Monday, then the school, there was crowdfunding, 20 naira, 10 naira, everybody, they brought the money to the hospital. I don't even know the amount of money anymore. So they collected the money. After collecting all the money, they now came. One doctor now came that morning. At that time, Kole Soromoti Dodi, when somebody cannot talk again, they said there was a particular something that gummed in his, I'm not a science student, so in his head, so he could not talk anymore. So the doctor came that morning and said, we have to transfer him from here to Teaching Hospital Ife, that they can no longer do anything about it in State Hospital Ondo, which means another money needs to be, like, we need to get more money. So they looked for money, they borrowed from one yawoni or everybody. Wọ́n yá wọn gúúsù, wọ́n yá láríwá, wọ́n yá ń wọ̀ oòrùn, wọ́n yá nílà oòrùn, wọ́n yá lọ́wọ́ alára, wọ́n yá lọ́wọ́ àjèrò, wọ́n yá lọ́wọ́ wárangán àga, so that he could leave. Then we took him to Ife. A lot of X-rays. One huge amount of money for X-ray. Then a lot of money went into it. Long story short, he was getting well after a huge amount of money has gone into it. I don't want to go to another place, but that guy who did it, he was actually imprisoned. Yes, not my father didn't take it up, but there was a family member who said, treat treat eléyìí. So the guy was actually arrested, and but that was how crazy it was. Immediately he was getting well, things was getting better, but BC. This is now where the hunger story started. There was nothing to feed on. We sold everything. Nothing. 2011, 2012. We used to eat 3 food. In the morning, like, that's what my mom sells. So it's easy for us to take it from what my mom sells. And moi in the morning, that's what we take. In the afternoon, it has to be gari. And on and off, sometimes one day on, one day off. And at night, bread was cheap. Bread here money. Bread was cheap. We used to buy bread 150 in La. Buy bread and eat bread. The same cycle for. And there were times when the food was not there. We were going to public school, so there was no really issues with academics or how to pay. It was cheap, very cheap at that time. And at the same time, I remember if I don't feed well, that's still me till today. If I don't feel well, my brain doesn't work. That was the session, the term. It was first time or second term that I had the worst result in my life. Me, it's not a result yet, don't it? Because Kosonje now, I get to the class, I sleep. I wake up, my result came out that year. It was all red. Èmi tó jẹ́ pé tó máa ń ka 1 2 3 a day. Wọ́n á dẹni tó ń hustle fún D. But glory be to God, that year I managed to pass. Then SS1, another challenge of hunger. There was one day, that day, nothing to eat. I left home very hungry. There was nothing to eat. My mother could not even get anything to kotomakiri, the maize, agbado tó máa fi ṣẹ̀kọ. There was no maize. Wọ́n ti jẹ gbèsè nílé alágbàdo, wọ́n ti jẹ gbèsè nílé ẹlẹ́wà. So nobody wanted to give them anything. So we could not eat anything that morning. So we went to school. Everybody went to school hungry that day. Then by the time we came back home, I met very hot and delicious eba, ẹja, very very good egusi tó lẹ́fọ̀ nínú on the table. Oh God, I was so happy. Ọjọ́ wo ti jẹrẹ last, mo jókòó tì, myself and my brother were eating, and suddenly light came. Bí náà yẹn ṣe wá dé, I was sweating, profusely sweating. Taking the day, kin lọ tan fan. Kin débi tí màá ti switch off the fan like this. The fan was no longer there. I only met strands of wire there. Then I looked up. The fan was no longer there. We were literally eating the fan because my mother sold that fan so that we could heat. Yes, the fan was the food we were eating. And that was not the only thing that was sold. A lot of things were sold. Big clothes, jewelries, a lot of things were sold. So that happened between 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. At a point, I was matured before I left teenager. I became very matured. When people ask me, say, you always talk, you always do like say you don't live many years in your life. I'll tell them, I've actually lived many years within short period of time because I've walked. At a point, I thought I was a sickler. I walk, I literally go out and walk. Ma shebri clear, be any to ma pu, collected how much but if it was just certain blocks matters that would just want to plaster the house, 1,000 naira, 800 naira sometimes. If it's granite, all this decking, 1,500 naira. That was what I was going to buy. Used to buy clothes, to clothe myself, to feed myself sometimes, to live. Like that was what I was living on for a long time. So anytime I was doing that thing, I was always falling sick. So I'll be sick for 1 week. They will still take care of me when I'm sick. And when I'm done, I'll still go back. So my landlord that time, Awoshine, people will know him very well. So this as big as this place is, if you give me all the materials I need, I'll do the tiles of this place. Because my landlord is a tiler, so I was always following him to work so that we could get something to at least clothe myself. That responsibility was no longer my parents' responsibility. Their own is to provide the little we could eat, and that was not even enough. So I had to do extra to make money. Not only me, my brother was also doing the same. So one day, my landlord discovered that I was already holding knife. I'm saying more bricklayers, you know what I'm saying. So he saw me, was like, Sadiq, we met him more Bam Ginya, if you do a sign, do dialect in English that you are now holding knife. That means you can walk. Go and tell your mom to come and sign for you because you will not come back to this work again. So since that time, he was no longer calling me to do the work, and there was no longer extra charges, extra money to get from that. That also blocked. Then secondary school, I had a lot of good friends in secondary school who were taking care of me. My friend Gugu of blessed memory was also, if that guy came to school with 200, he would give me 100 naira to feed myself. He would take me home too. So I met Gugu in SS2, and he was a wonderful guy to me till his death. So there was this particular day that myself and Gugu did not have anything to eat. We thought of, okay, kila tun fe se bayi, how do we get money? There was nothing to eat all through that day. His mom did not come to school because mommy enter fufu. We were literally begging people that, okay, please give me something I want to eat. Myself particularly, nothing to eat. And in 2015, when I left secondary school, I stepped out. I've started working since I was much younger, but immediately in secondary school in 2015, I stepped out of my parents' home, and I didn't learn how to paint. There was one brother in the street, Timokon. I was living with him. So through that, I was getting money from painting to going into broadcasting, teaching in tutorial center. Like I said, I was Odogu in secondary school. I sabi book that. So that was where the story started changing, because I stepped out of the house. I stepped out. I could not take it anymore. I was doing painting, from painting to broadcasting. That broadcasting could go out sometimes. My oga, one voiceover, give me 700, 800. So that was where the story started changing, because I took the bull by the horn. I was making my own money myself, and since that time, since 2015, I've not gone back home. I was 18 years old in 2015. I clocked 18 when I left secondary school. So immediately it's more 18 by the bashin sorrow 80 right now. I've not gone back home. Well, like I do go home for visit, but going back home, and when your parents take the full responsibility of, no, it has been God. They are very supportive. They are the best in this life, but man gas survive. So since then, I've been outside. Here is my hunger story. My name is Olalekan Waheed. Many people call me Orolabi. Thank you for watching.